Hey there everybody, Eric from Outer Limitless coming at you today with another video. Now if you're like me, you like to invest time and effort into dialing in your everyday carry system. It's not just the bag, it's not just the gizmos and tools, but it's how the whole thing comes together to give you an effective everyday carry solution so that as you run into different scenarios, you have the things that you need at your fingertips. And I'm hoping the product we're going to look at today can help to enhance and round out your kit, which is this TiCaliper all-in-one EDC tool from MakerPi. Now, an interesting little titanium tool. The people at MakerPi reached out to me to see if I'd be interested in taking a look at this. Now, at the time of this video, this particular tool is in the Kickstarter phase. So if you're watching this, again, at the time of this video, the Kickstarter phase, they're trying to get this product launched. They have two versions, a stainless steel version and the titanium version that you see here today. Now, MakerPi did provide me with this for this review, and I was very curious because I had been thinking about my everyday carry needs and my everyday carry system and thinking there were some things that I could probably use to round it out. Now, this might not have necessarily been what I had in my mind, but I was actually really interested to see how this would work. And right away, I'm seeing some pretty cool little things. Like, for example, they did have this laser engraved for me. So you can see my Outer Limitless name there. At the time, October 18th, 2024. So you could potentially customize this and engrave and sort of make it your own. That makes this a viable option for things like, for example, simple little gifts. This could be just a cool little sort of best man gift or something like that, and just give you the flexibility to engrave it if you so choose. Again, you can see here material titanium, and then they labeled the product ID here with my Outer Limitless name, and then again that date. So that's actually pretty neat, and I do appreciate that. Now, not only do we get the tool, but inside a couple of additional accessories. So there's a small little LED light, and then kind of like a carabiner clip, which, depending on what you're trying to do, you can set this tool up a couple of different ways. So on the back here, and I'm kind of wondering how this looks like it just snaps into place, and that's a high-powered magnet right on the back, and that allows this little flashlight just to literally clip on there and index on the back. And then there's just a little bit of a tape here, removing that tape. Now getting this into place, you can see that LED light does function, but it's got kind of a weak switch. It's just a little bit mushy on the switch, but it definitely works. You can see a little bit of a flicker in the light. I feel like that's just a little bit of a cheap enhancement, but it does come with it. So I'd say maybe it's one of those things, better to have it if you want to use it than to not have it. But I will probably not use this really too much my own personal self. And again, you can see there just flickering a bit. But what probably makes more sense is to put this little D-ring. So a titanium D-ring has a little bit of a shackle, and that will go right through the end here. You can see that little lanyard hole, and that will allow this shackle to go right through there. So I'm going to add this for my needs, which now in place, that does fit very nicely. It had a little bit of an O-ring gasket just to kind of hold everything tight. One last thing I did want to point out about the little LED, which is the fact that A, it does have a magnet as well, so this is magnetized, and then B, you can get this in either the white LED, UV lamp, red lamp, or blue lamp, or you could get all four. So some options there, again, depending on your preferences and what you're trying to do. Now, one of the main features on here that makes this a little bit different is the fact that these are basically a caliper. And as we take a look here, the caliper opening up, and it is spring-loaded, which is pretty neat. And then you have two different sets of graduations. On this side, you have inches and millimeters, and then again on this side, inches and millimeters. So that's actually pretty cool. I like that quite a bit. So from 0 to about 40 millimeters, or in other words, just about 1.5 inches. Now, as we take a look a little bit closer, you will notice that there's a little bit of a tick mark, and that's going to indicate the size. So as we measure, just for the sake of the argument, a US quarter, getting that in there. And as we take a look at the readings here, we're looking at roughly 15/16 of an inch, or about 24 millimeters. Now, not only is that spring-loaded and a caliper, but you can take the head and lock it into place with this little set screw, and now you can leverage this as a wrench. So now the ability to actually get on, a nut and turn it, it does feel like it's going to grab fairly well, all things considered. Which, for the sake of this demonstration, let's just say I needed to tighten down here. Now, to get this adjusted, pretty much just going to get this loosened up, spring load, get that tension right around there, tighten that thumb screw, and at this point, that should be about right, and I should have the ability to get on here. Now, this isn't a perfect demonstration for sure. However, as we get a little bit of practice here, clearly that is going to work. And in terms of its ability to hold, I can force past this if I really wanted to, but I feel like the way this is made is stout enough that it's not really going to let go as long as you use it appropriately. So I would say that's definitely an effective design. Now, a couple other odd ways that you can use this. They're saying basically you could use this like a phone holder, which I actually think I might kind of like this, because a lot of times I try to take pictures and I have nothing that would actually hold up my phone. If it's just me and I'm taking a picture of me, or me and my family, and don't have anyone around to help. So literally just opening up this clamp, taking my phone, setting it in here either way, and leaning it over. Will that work? It kind of works, but it's a little bit hokey, and it definitely slips. And you definitely need to pick the right angle. Maybe if I go horizontal. Horizontal, it will definitely work. That's not a problem. Vertical, it gets a little bit weird. I'd say vertical, it's too tall. Horizontal, it definitely does do it. You kind of do run the risk a little bit of this claw working up against your screen. You could probably go the other way. Let's just spin this around. That's way better. So I'd say this way is much more effective. So just spinning this around and putting this on this side definitely works better. So that would hold my phone up and certainly allow me to take pictures. So I'd say that's another effective use of the MakerPi TiCaliper. Which brings me to the opposite side of the head. This is a bottle opener. So right here, a bottle opener. Gonna get on, pry. That should work. I can see that working. I don't think there will be any issues with that. I don't actually have a bottle with a cap like that that would allow me to test it at this particular time. Now we have a little nail puller right here, so that's pretty cool. And so clearly you're not going to get a lot in the way of leverage, but I did have a couple of different examples we can try. And so depending on the length of the nail or the size of the head, results may vary. So thought I'd try a couple of different things. This is very simple. Now again, I don't have much length, and the fact that this nail is a little bit longer and has a smaller head means I'm going to struggle to get on here. I lose my leverage very quickly. Different size nails. That one came out. So that is like a roofing nail. This one here, that's going to work. That got it like mostly out. There we go. So that was about 1.5 inches, just common general galvanized nail. Forget it. This one here, longer sort of stainless framing style nail. There's no way that you could get this out. So you're just too limited in terms of your torque and then the length of the claw there and your ability to get on that. So again, my point is, this is going to be a very limited tool. You could probably use it to help get, like, you know, picture nails and things out of the wall, but you're certainly not going to use it for anything more substantial, in my opinion. You do have a glass breaker. So here, a glass breaker. I am not going to be testing it in terms of punishing glass, but from a general perspective, you would probably, you know, grip this, and you can see certainly leaving a substantial dent. There again, and it actually didn't beat up my hands too bad. So I would say from that perspective, that should absolutely work in a pinch. Now, MakerPi suggesting that you can also use this to open packages. Like here, if we had to open this tape, you would literally use the point. And actually, it did it very well. So yeah, that absolutely worked. Actually, extremely well. And I'll go as far as to say that would never damage the contents inside the box, where sometimes with box cutters or sharper tools, you do run that risk. So this is actually a pretty good idea. Now, a couple last little details. There are some slots here that would allow for tritium vials to be added. So for people that like to sort of enhance their gear or add little tritium vials, that's sort of one of those features that in the crowdfunding campaign can be unlocked as time goes on, which I think is also really neat. Keep in mind the fact that the underside is magnetized, so you can definitely magnetize this to different items, and especially if you're, you know, trying to kind of store this, or you want to stash this somewhere or use the magnet to your advantage. Again, magnetized on the bottom, so that does work out well. And I'm not exactly sure what they're going for right here, which, if you notice, there's this sort of shiny spot and this rough patch, which I'm not really too sure what these are for, and there's not a real good indication of that in the documentation. But just to close this out, final specification. So overall, this is 72.5 millimeters in overall length. Once we open this up, 109.5 millimeters. In the cross section, we have roughly 10 millimeters, 28 millimeters tall, and an overall weight for the titanium version at 37 grams. For the 304 stainless version, this weighs in at 58 grams. And so all in all, the TiCaliper from MakerPi is definitely a unique tool. Never seen anything quite like this. It's extremely small, has a number of very useful features. I like that it's titanium. It feels well made and robust enough for what it needs to do. It's different than everything else, so I think you're adding additional tools to your EDC lineup. The only thing that really wasn't great was the light itself, but that's just a small piece. The main tool itself, very nicely done. So this is interesting. How do I feel about it? I think it's a good addition to your EDC kit. I think it definitely adds some additional tools that you might not have. It's very simple, lightweight, compact, doesn't take up a ton of space. And again, just saying it another time, it's different. which is refreshing. So I like people that are thinking outside of the box. I like people that are looking for different tools, enhancements to the EDC lineup. And so the people at MakerPi absolutely doing that. And so with that, I would like to say thank you very much for following along. Thank you to the people at MakerPi who did provide this for review. Look in the description box below where you can find all of the relevant links. Again, at the time of this video, this is in the crowdfunding stage, so more and more to come. And if you guys like this content, do me a favor, take a look at my Outer Limitless 2 channel, which is more on the tactical and firearm side of things. At this point, that channel is growing quickly. I have a ton of videos up there. So if you like what you see here on Outer Limitless, do me a favor and check me out on Outer Limitless 2. So all right, guys, thanks for stopping by. I hope you like what you saw. I hope you found it a little bit informative. If you like what you saw, please like, share, and subscribe. And as always, thanks for stopping by. Take care now. I'll see you soon.